Hello! Guess what? Come a little closer. Closer. It's time for a story. Welcome, my friends, to the bowels of society. Misty, dark tunnels rotting with the continuous digestion of filth from your daily waste. Where small life forms, the likes of bacteria and roaches, to rodents and monsters, call their home, eking a life along the trickling gray water that ebbs and flows through the labyrinthian catacombs and eventually bleeds out to the sunny, salty seas. But that daylight hardly ever graces this underground domain with its touch. Not that it bothers the denizens or its proud, self-proclaimed ruler, the Rat King. A man, at least I think it's a man, he was born and left forgotten at the sewer's doorstep like many a refuse. Taken within by the rats of gigantic proportions, ROGPs to the layman, he was meant to be a shared meal for the colony. A bountiful blessing for the sewer kind, but once revealed from his swaddled and tattered rags, the ROGPs were astonished to find a newborn human. Perhaps malnourished, but definitely alive and rather quiet for a baby, almost thoughtful as his wide little eyes took in the furry shapes around him. And these rodents are not so barbaric as to eat an infant. In fact, rats, by and large, are sorely misunderstood. Territorial and vicious when provoked, yes, but also incredibly social, intelligent creatures. Believing this small thing to be some form of royal stature, giving his stoic fortitude at such a young age, they took him into their fold, raising him as one of their own. Learning the ways of survival in the dark, caring for family, and observing humankind, unbeknownst from beneath their very feet. But as time passed, he would outlive his loved ones, taking on the mantle himself as ruler of the underground, using pelts from his family to keep him warm and to never forget his upbringings in homage. And within this passage of time, he would become a very, very lonely king. And this is the state in which we found him. Or rather, he found us. Standing in the shade of a lonely oak tree on top of a hill not 50 yards from the gathering stone. He stayed there for most of the day, observing, I suppose. It put us on edge for a time. But I remembered no one was allowed here that shouldn't be. And perhaps my own nervous staring is what kept him from approaching. So I went about my business, and as the twilight sun began to hide behind the distant horizon, our royal visitor stood from his darkened spot, adjusted his clothing, tightened a belt, and approached. Coming to a halt within about 3 yards of myself and the chickens, our other visitors seemed to take notice, and they gathered round. The stranger took a formal bow, then swept back his cape and knelt before us.
O great and benevolent Newman, I come before you in need of service. For my kingdom's court has been empty as of late, and I am direly alone. I offer my humility and eternal gratitude, if but a wish you could grant me solely.
Everyone seemed extremely puzzled as to what was transpiring or to whom he was speaking to. So I inquired, "Now, my good man, there is no need for such honorary gestures. I assure you we are all equal here in our needs of..." But the man was not listening. Near as I could tell, his gaze under that hood went past me and held the eyes of the chickens. There was a long, strange moment of silence, broken only by the man himself.
So be it.
He responded to no one in particular as he reached up and lowered the rodent-esque hood that was covering his face, revealing a starkly handsome structure with tousled chestnut hair and deep brown eyes that now stared at the ground. Save for a few scars, this man had a remarkably noble air to his look. He then stood, bowed, and replaced the hood to cover his features once more, before turning on the spot and heading out into the cool autumn night. Glancing back at the chickens, they had moved on to their normal behavior. And looking over my shoulder, the mysterious man was now nowhere in sight. How strange. Upon arriving back to his domain, the Rat King felt comforted to be surrounded by the familiar sounds and smells of the dock. But still, he felt that guttural feeling of lonely hearth and home. Oh, that was until he noticed there, sitting upon his makeshift table, was a small globe of crystal clear water that sparkled and glittered with a mystique of magical wonder. Within that globe of water was a beautiful, chubby, glittering and dancing goldfish.
Heh! Welcome home, Elijah.
That's it for this week, folks. I hope you enjoyed this return of the Rat King. And in case you missed it, his first appearance was in this episode right here. For now, I hope you all return next week for the start of our month-long celebration of Halloween, where every week will be a new spooky tale from the realm. We hope to see you then. Farewell for now.